What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Podcast News Award winner and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online broadcast for fathers and dads in the world that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And another hat I wear once in a while is, I wear it a lot these days for some strange reason. I am the board chair of an organization called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. Its purpose is to showcase Blacks in the diaspora that are involved in the world of food, wine, and travel. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. As you know, and if you don't know, I love having new friends on the Dr. Vibe Show platform. And we have another new friend. I had the pleasure of and honor of having him share a few weeks ago. I was doing something on Clubhouse, hosting a room about the future of work. And this young gentleman came in and he dropped some knowledge bombs. I said, look, we got to get you on the Dr. Vibe Show because you have information and evaluated experience that will be helpful to my audience. So we have him here today. So his name is Bill Caskey. He's a sales development leader and experimenter who has been improving B2B sales teams and executives since 1990. His philosophies and strategies have fueled explosive growth in sales and profits for his clients. He's passionate about sharing his ideas about selling, business, life, money, and meaning. His work expands beyond the B2B world and individual training and coaching. He's the author of a number of books, Same Game, New Rules, Rewire The Sales Mind, The Sales Playbook, to name a few. He also co-hosts 2 podcasts. So I like him because I host more than one. Most people just have one. He's got 2 going. The Advanced Selling Podcast, a weekly podcast counseling sales forces and leaders who seek to improve their business, and the Bill Caskey Podcast, a deeper dive into achievement. He believes the most important approach to any endeavor is improving one's mindset. So naturally, he enjoys busi-ness books. I like how he put it, busy, B-U-S-I books, human development psychology topics, as well as health fitness books. Quote, this is one of his quotes, "We owe it to ourselves to make it a lifelong habit of learning how to master our lives. Whether we're leaders of teams or members of sales teams, our audience relies on bringing out our A game to every field every day, to the field every day. It's incumbent upon us to spend a few hours a week in personal growth so we can be our best when the time demands. His success and passions are rooted into his family and community service. He spends time with his wife, Jane, his 2 daughters, Kelly and Kara, who work in Indianapolis and Denver. He's also the creator of the 2xgroup.com, a small group coaching program for B2B salespeople, and the world-class sales leader. Why am I not surprised by that? .com, helping sales managers and leaders inspire and motivate their teams. Let us welcome for the first time, but not the last time, Mr. Bill Caskey. How are you, sir?
Dr. Vibe, it is a pleasure. I always know I'm in good hands when the countdown clock is in perfect sync with the music.
Very
Am I
nice.
the only one that's noticed that?
Well, yeah, you're the first person who said that. So,
but it is, isn't it? It is.
It's in sync. That is fantastic. How are we doing today?
I'm great. I speak to you from the U.S., Indianapolis, Indiana, in the Midwest. We are home of the NCAA basketball tournament. All the games are played here, so we're all excited about that. So, no, spring is here, and it's been a great last month or so.
Great. Well, I have to be honest, I haven't watched a lot this year, but in the past, I used to be a huge college junkie when it comes to basketball. And actually, I went to some of the March Madnesses, actually saw some games in the Carrier Dome in Syracuse and Albany. So I haven't watched a lot of it, but who's going to beat Gonzaga? That's the question.
I don't see anybody beating them. They're a picture perfect team. It's gonna be hard to beat, but it only takes one night.
One game. Well, Let's get it started here today because they're not here to watch me or hear from me. They're here to hear and watch you. Can you just share for our audience a little bit of background about yourself? We got some of the professional stuff. Where did you grow up, etc.?
Yeah, I grew up in Indiana. I was an avid basketball player back then, and I just loved the sport. I loved the game. I was raised in a pretty normal family, only child. Actually played basketball in college at a little Division III college in Indiana. Got out of college and really didn't have much direction, as a lot of kids I think do today. Is, I just went and got a job, and the job that I got, I was ill prepared for. It was a sales position, and I didn't know how to do it. Got no mentoring, no coaching. I drifted. I'll use I don't know whether it's Brian Tracy's or Napoleon Hill, the drift. And I drifted in my 20s, and I got in a little bit of addiction trouble. But as I look back, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And so I finally got my head screwed on straight at 30 and decided to make a serious career out of exploring achievement and sales specifically. But over the past 20 years, I've kind of gravitated a little bit less, or a little bit away from the sales technique world and into just mastering our lives and our mindset. And that's what I think we're here to talk about a little bit today. So it's been a great journey. I'm 65 years old. I have no idea at all when I'm going to quit. I love what I do. I love working with teams of people and individuals as well. So I'm on a track to probably work another 12, 15 years.
Hey, you don't look 65, brother. I'm sort of like taking him out going, you're how old? Come on now. You look fantastic.
Well, thank you.
It reflects that you enjoy what you do, how you present yourself, not only physically, but verbally. I sense that right from the beginning when we just met audibly on Clubhouse, and I just said, there's something I want to know more about you and what you have to offer. So I'm glad you're here.
I've got a filter that makes me look 10 years younger. So that's probably check. Thanks for that, producer.
Just one little thing about what you shared before we get into the world of sales and business. You had mentioned to our audience that you weren't going down the right path when you were younger. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the moment that the turn began?
Well, how much morbid detail do you want to get in? Well, I had a alcohol problem, and I've said this before. This is not the first time.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you're comfortable.
Yeah. No, I'm very comfortable, and I drank too much, and I partied too much, and it was part of the drifting. I didn't have a specific goal in life. I was just kind of going where the sea took me, and the sea took me to some pretty bad places. And I remember the night that I decided that I was going to die pretty quickly if I didn't get help. Now, I wasn't in the hospital or anything, but I was heading down a path toward, down a bad path. And so, I decided one day I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'd had enough. And I went and sought help, and I got that help. And that was the beginning. That was kind of the turning point. I was 31 at the time. Mm-hmm. So my 20s were kind of a blur, to be honest with you. It was a lot of fun, but at some point I had to grow up and be a man. And I know you talk about that a lot in your podcast and your work. It's, you have to at some point pull the big boy pants up and decide, am I going to be a mouse or a man? And I had been a mouse in my 20s, and I decided that I needed to shift direction quite a bit. So that's my.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's appreciated, because we like to hear about overcoming and the stories. And I think many people these days, especially in these times, want to hear people who have overcome. So thank you for doing that. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. You have a long career in sales, and won't spend too much time in your professional career, but just give a little background and context. How did your sales career start? And what have been some of the special moments before you started doing stuff on your own in your journey on the sales road? Yeah,
sales road, I was very average. Again, as I said, I got no training and no mentoring or no coaching. I kind of was handed the customer list and said, here, you got $1 million quota, go out and make it so. And that's why I really believe so much in the idea of coaching and mentoring, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think that if you want to do something big with your life, you've got to have somebody there helping you. And it's hard to do anything alone today, and you shouldn't have to. You should have a support group and people around you who are pulling for you and encouraging you. And so I bounced around in the construction equipment business. I was with a Caterpillar dealer for a while in my 20s. I was I sold advertising for a hardware magazine. And then I sold extension cords for a company called Woods Wire to Home Depot and Lowe's and Ace and some of the big chains. I learned a lot in that job. Actually, I had a pretty good manager in that job, and he was very helpful, and it was a lot of fun. So I learned a little bit about big business and how corporate buying decisions are made, purchasing decisions. So that was, as you look back in life, I think you look back and say, well, I didn't like that job, but I did learn quite a bit from it. And I think that's part of the stacking of our talent is we look back and we say, I learned this here and I learned that there. And it might not have been good at the time, but we are the accumulation of all of our lessons in life. And so I don't think you can look back and say, man, I made a mistake going there. You know what? I learned something.
I like what you said there, especially two things. First of all, I've always said to people, there's no such thing as a bad job. If you learn, even if you don't like it, you've learned something.
Absolutely.
At least you've learned what you don't like them, but
absolutely. How valuable is that? Yeah,
exactly. And then also with jobs, take what they're teaching you and see if you can incorporate it in your own. Mm-hmm. And I love how you say stack your talent. I love that terminology. Mm-hmm. Stacking your talent.
Yeah, actually, that's Scott Adams, who was the Dilbert creator of the cartoon Dilbert. He has several books, and he talks about talent stacks. So but I look at it a little bit differently than he does. I just think that we've accumulated wisdom and knowledge and know-how. And sometimes I don't think we tap into that. I don't think we go back and say, man, you know what? I'm really good at this. I've got a lot of know-how around that. Maybe there's a business there, or maybe there's a platform that I can seek. So that's part of this whole untapped potential movement, is tapping into our own potential. And sometimes I always find that, and I'd be interested to see what you think about this. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we either overvalue our talent, and that's not necessarily good, but more often I think we undervalue it.
Yes.
We undervalue, and then we don't either charge enough, we don't ask for the right career paths, or we don't have the confidence to go out to the world and say, this is what I'm good at. If you need this, man, this is good. We rarely take inventory of it.
I fully agree with you. I think most of us undervalue, and it's especially appropriate when someone asks, when someone asks me to help them with their resume, I say, so what did you do at your last job? Nothing. I said, I didn't really do anything much. I'm going, so how do you think you're going to get another job if you can't tell me what you've done?
Yeah.
You're so on point there.
We don't, my daughter is 26, and she'd probably kill me for saying that, but she's in a business. She's had 2 or 3 positions. Yeah. And I always tell her, and this is part of the untapped potential, you got to document what you know. How is anybody else going to believe you know anything if you haven't documented it in some way or created a portfolio around it? It doesn't have to be a book, but it could be a 1-page thing that says, this is what I've done. This is what I love to do. This is what I'm good at. And if you can't do that and communicate that because you don't know it, why is somebody going to pay you a lot of money to come to work for them, or a customer?
I'm just bowing to what you're saying, because one of the things I tell people is create proof. Create proof.
Bingo.
Don't think about creating it when you're on your way. I mean, when you get there, on your way, you're creating proof.
I love that. I'm going to write that down. That's my $1 million lesson for today.
Yeah. Create proof. So many people are only wanting to create something when they get to the end destination. Along the way, you're hitting benchmarks that can be shared with the world.
Yeah.
Create proof.
It's the difference between a resume and a portfolio.
Oh, here we go. Go dive into this one. I'm ready here.
Well,
Go for it.
I don't want to get you too excited too quickly.
No, I am jacked. I'm fired up. And also here, just want to interject, Laura from Bear Slate, being sick and tired of being sick and tired is a real thing, especially now. We wear our big girl pants one step at a time. That's Laura and Nicole from Bear Slate. Definitely, I'm gonna have a feeling she's probably gonna call me out and say, we need to get Bill on our show. So don't be scared if they come your way. They're good people.
Yeah, I think the whole resume thing has kind of lived its useful life, don't you think? I mean, if you are I told my daughter this. She got ready to apply for a position with a company she really wanted to work for, just out of college, and she had a resume. Now, a resume for a college grad ain't much. I mean, it's really what was your grade point average, which I don't know how important that is. But she created a little portfolio and put it into video with music, some of the trips she'd taken, some of the lessons she'd learned, and she got the job. And was it because of that? I don't know. They said it kind of was, but now you're separating yourself from all these other people that are delivering PDF resumes on a Word doc. You have to have a resume, but you got to have something alongside it that says this is who this human being is. And so I think portfolios, especially if you've been in a business for more than a year, you've got accomplishments. They may not be big accomplishments. I don't care. But if you package those and say, this is who I am and how I see the world, that's a whole lot better than some stupid resume. And again, I've never had a resume. I don't recommend resumes. I recommend portfolios. But you gotta build it,
Yeah, it's so important what you're saying too, because for me, when I go out and share, especially with media and journalism students, if I'm chatting with journalism students and I say, well, you want to get into journalism? They go, yeah. I say, do you have a website? No. Okay, so if I want to hire you and I want to see some of your work, I have no place to go to.
Yeah.
Like I want, and also, and I'm beginning to bring some co-op students on board. And I'm asking them, what, like, I want them to come to ideas to make themselves better, but I also want to make them better. So I want them to come with ideas because I just don't want them to sit there. Like, no. I tell them, look, I want to find out what you want to do. I want to help your career, but I also want them to come with ideas on, hey, you've seen what I do. What ideas can make it better?
Yes. Yes.
Right. You've got all this education. There's hundreds and millions of it, but how can you either generate more revenue for me or save me time?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find people who think that way, though.
It is,
especially at 23. I mean, that's a big ask, but I'll bet you run across people and you say, "That's my person. Yeah, that's my lady. That's my guy right there."
Like for me, if you and I have the same vision, if I have to train you, I don't care. As long as if you're learnable, teachable, and duplicatable, you're good with me.
Mm-hmm.
You're good with me. So and just as I predicted, Bear Slate's going to want you on their show. So within minutes, So I will certainly get the contact information of both of you. It's just a great example of how we can stand out. It's so important to be seen. Yeah. This is good. Yeah. This is good. Well, but as you can tell, I've already told Bill before he came on that the mic is open. So I'm already requesting a second appearance because him and I can go back and forth forever. But today, Bill wants to share about a specific topic, and I think it's really relevant in the times we're talking about today. He wanted to talk about your untapped potential. So, Bill, I'm going to let you drive the ship, and I'll come along with you. So please give us a start.
Well, I'm happy to do that. I'd like to have this be a conversation too, as you stated earlier, because
absolutely.
After being in the coaching and training business for umpteen years, in the sales genre, is that how you pronounce that? It was very French. Genre. It was very French, wasn't it?
Actually, before I go any further, people say they're not good at sales. So many people say they're not good at sales. Are many people making sales harder than it really is? Yeah. Yeah. Before you get into your journey, I want you to dive into that because I think it's an important point.
Well, sales is. I even bought a URL the other day called Selling Made Simple.
It was available.
It was available as a .live or a .club. It was not .com, but
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, people do. They overcomplicate it, and unfortunately, sales managers have emphasized the behavior, have emphasized skills and behavior. And I don't emphasize that. I emphasize strategy. And a good example of that is I had a webinar I did a week and a half ago, and it was to populate a group called the High Achievers Mentoring Program. And it's a group of high achievers, people who earn $150,000 to $200,000 a year, and who want to be surrounded by like-minded achievers. And this is not a a group for college graduate who are just getting into sales. This is a seasoned vet group.
Yeah.
And I have the podcast, so I had a wait list created, and people came on the wait list. And then I offered this webinar. I had 20 people on it. I was a little bit disappointed. I had 35, 40 people sign up. Only 20 people attended. But I filled the whole group of 10 people based on that. Now, did I sell? No, I didn't. I never dropped into sales mode. I just basically said, look, if you're having these problems, and I had about 7 problems that high achievers have, and if you're interested in being in a group of like-minded thinkers who want to solve these and want to be held accountable, then this is my offer. A, B, C, D. It's $497 a month. And I had 10 people almost instantly take me up on it. Never did I sell, but I had a strategy. And the strategy was expose them to some content, help them be comfortable, let them know what I was up to, a little bit of my story. And if it sounds the least bit interesting, you should do it. If you want to get on a phone call with me, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but never sold. I don't think the traditional sales thing is good anymore. I think people are they're so disgusted by this needy, begging, attached salesperson that they'll run from you. So my focus would be, and my advice for people who say I'm not good at sales, you just haven't developed a good sales strategy. That's all. Sales shouldn't be about rejection. It shouldn't. That's the old world. That's the the pre-2000 world. Now with digital, you should be able to share your beliefs, share your value, talk about your offer, and people who want to join you, they join you. People who don't. And I don't harbor any ill will toward people who don't want to buy from me. In fact, they just may not be ready. Maybe it's their best decision not to buy from me.
Right.
So I think sales is full of the emphasis on convince and persuade and get attached to the deal. And I feel like, well, that doesn't attract anybody. Who gets attracted if you're out in the market looking for a relationship? You needing a relationship is a good way to turn people off. It just is. I hate to always do the boy-girl thing. But the point there is that we've just got to rethink sales. And the way you do it is rethink your strategy. And when you do that, it takes all the pressure off. No fear, no rejection. I'm rejecting them. They're not rejecting me. I'm saying, you know what, you may not fit into this. And I'm not doing it hoping they'll say, oh, please. I'm just picky about who I work with. So I don't know if that helps, but
no, that's beautiful. No, that's a great knowledge bomb right there. So let's get back on our untapped potential. Okay. But I just wanted to get that out because I know that helps somebody out there. So I appreciate that.
I do hear that a lot. And my answer to that is, well, you better learn it. Because if you're selling yourself all the time, whether you're trying to move positions, advance your career, sell something, bring ideas to your company, you're always in sales mode. But if you do it the old way, you get resistance. You do it my way, you don't get any resistance because your strategy is more about human nature. And I always say, tell people right up front, this may not be a fit for you because it might not. And this idea that we got to make customers fit, they just don't. So anyway, back to untapped potential. So when you and I talked here a few weeks ago, I kind of posed the idea that I think we all have untapped potential within us. And I think COVID and the whole what we went through in 2020, I think it woke some people up to say, what am I doing with my life? What am I really about here? I'm squirreled away, I'm quarantined, I'm whatever. And I think there's a lot of thought time. And I have found in the last 6 months that people really are taking a deep, hard look at who am I? What am I about? Where do I want to go in my life? And I think that all centers around this concept of untapped potential. So I've got 7 things here. And I think on your lower third, you can download this. It's free. You send me your email address in the web page, and I'll deliver this to you. It's a PDF. I think it's good. Share it with your spouse or with your significant other or your partner, with your manager. But I think some of these things are worth having a conversation about. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, and then we can stop at each one.
I'm going to probably stop you after each one because I know they'll go deep dive. So what's number 1?
Yeah, number 1 is get your purpose right. There's a lot of people who talk about what is your purpose? What is your life purpose? What is your business purpose? But we're all here on this planet for some damn reason. We're not just God's experiment and lab. There's a reason we're here. And there's a reason we were born in the conditions we were born in, into the family we were born in. And there's a reason that you have certain things that interest you and certain things that bore you. And my goal here with this, number one, is just start thinking about, why am I here? What do I want my life to look like? What are my talents and visions and just who am I? What am I about? If you're living close to your purpose, then everything gets easier because you're aligned with that. For example, my purpose in my business and in my life is to take the lessons that I've learned over the course of my years and every day that I'm with people and coaching people, and distribute those to the world through the podcast, through LinkedIn, through Instagram. I don't do as much on Instagram, but LinkedIn I do, and my podcast and my training. And so if I can take lessons that I learn, like I just learned a lesson from you, that whole idea of create proof, that's a lesson. I would like to share that with the world. I would attribute it, of course, to Dr. Vibe, happily. But that's my purpose. And so when I wake up in the morning, I don't think, oh God, I got to go make cold calls today. I think, where can I go share my wisdom and my experience and a little bit of that know-how that I've accumulated? So get your purpose right. It might take some work. You might need somebody to help you. But I'm curious to know what you feel about that, because obviously you're aligned with your purpose. I mean, I can tell that.
Well, humble and thank you. And I receive that. I one of the things that has taken me to that level, just to add on to what you're sharing, and you may agree with this or not, also purpose and relevancy. So let me put it in this context. If I like to help and serve people, people know that. So if you came to me and said, hey, Dr. Vibe, I've got a great project to help kids. Yeah, that's fantastic. But 5 minutes later, you tell me, I've got a great project to help fathers and men. Both of them are the same thing, but the second opportunity is more relevant to my purpose.
But you're super clear on it.
Yeah, so that's true. That's true.
That allows you to say no to the things that don't match and yes to the things that do.
True.
It's an automatic filter for decisions.
Yeah. And not everyone is there.
No.
But I definitely, that's just an add-on to what Bill shared, is that I'm blessed because I've taken some time and I'm being intentional in investing it myself, because I want to make sure that my purpose not only benefits me, but benefits who I want it to benefit the most. Because if I'm not aligned with my purpose, it's not going to serve the people the best way.
No. And you can't serve everybody.
No.
You may want to
purpose too.
you may want to do kids work, and I think that's noble too. But somebody else, in your audience probably is good with kids and does that. And so I think purpose helps us make decisions. It helps us get out of bed in the morning. It helps motivate us. It helps get rid of the fear about, well, I can shoot a LinkedIn video, but what about my hair and what about my voice? And you think, no, screw it. That doesn't matter. My purpose is to get this wisdom out, no matter what my hair looks like. And I'm very conscious of my hair, as you can tell. Okay.
So am I. Touche.
Touche.
Well, and I am very conscious because I shave it every day.
You're killing me. You're killing me. That was one quick comeback, buddy.
Well, you know what? As I said, after I've done a lot of these things, I wasn't good in the past, so I'm good at getting better at comebacks now.
Whenever the word hair comes up, you got it
bang,
locked and loaded, don't you?
Yeah, like I love, and again, we're coming out of COVID, ladies, when they make one trip to the hairdresser, I asked them how much they spent. And I said, that covers me for about a year.
The gels and the blades.
Yeah, I got it down simple and fast. So before we start a comedy show, let's get back on our potential track.
Number two, in untapped potential, I think to realize that you have to understand your personal value. And this is not necessarily your vision. This is the value that you bring to the world. And for example, if you've been in a sales position for 10 years, then you have know-how. You've accumulated wisdom and knowledge and expertise and experiences. And I don't think people are in touch with their true value. And then when you go to price that value in the market, job, entrepreneur, whatever, you will discount it because you haven't ever, and I said this earlier, you haven't ever taken inventory of what your value is. My wife right now is in a job search. She left a job after 25 years with Verizon, took a couple years off, bored to tears, I'm anxious for her to get back to work, and she is too. And she's struggling with, well, geez, I was with Verizon for 25 years. I mean, I don't really know. I'm like, you used to run these $100 million operations and events, and you telling me you don't know how to organize an event? Well, yeah, but everybody did that. We get into that look, well, doesn't everybody know that? And no, nobody has seen the world the way you've seen it for your life. That in and of itself gives you great potential for a unique perspective.
A number of things. I know Bear Slate has a comment about the purpose. We'll get to that after we finish this part of the conversation. I can so much relate to that because a number of years I was asked by a government 8 hours flight away to come and do a presentation for them. And I had never had that opportunity in my life. Never. And I had no idea what I was worth.
Yeah.
So I was blessed because I developed a community that people who have done that sort of thing before saying, what should I charge?
Yeah.
And I said, should I ask them for that much? No, just ask them. The worst they're going to say is no, and you can negotiate it out, right?
Yeah.
So I put it out there. They said yes. Not only did they pay for my presentation, they paid for my flight. They gave me spending money there. Plus they paid for my hotel. And that changed my mindset. I wouldn't have known till I was challenged by that sort of opportunity what I was worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
it's a great example.
And I want you also to delve down also how individuals that are in your wife's age group, in those situations, that's got to be difficult.
It is difficult. She's 60 and she's bought into this thing that, well, companies don't want to hire a 60-year-old, which there is a little bit of truth to that. But if you're the person that has a LinkedIn page and they looked at your profile and they watched your video and they see your portfolio, they're going to say, why would we hire a 30-year-old? We can get this person here who has experience and wisdom and is funny and communicates. So you're exactly right. We discount our own value, back to what we talked about earlier.
Yes. Just going back to the number one, Bear Slate is saying, I feel when we choose who we want to be every day, we start to live on purpose, which leads to our purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bear Slate's right.
Good take.
Yeah.
And then she says, I guess she's saying this to me, don't even start with the hair. So I guess I shouldn't have laid that comment about visiting the salon and the cost.
You've triggered your audience.
Yes, I better behave myself. Bad host. So I better keep it down here. So let's go to number 3.
Okay. Number 3 is, and this is going to be maybe controversial or something different than what you've learned in your audience. Number 3 is detach from the outcomes. Detach from the outcomes means, I learned this in Alcoholics Anonymous. They have a saying called, let it go and let God. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is let things go that are not all that important. And when we try to control everything in our lives, we start to, I'm hearing an echo. Is that me?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's on your end. A little bit of a funny noise there.
Okay, let me turn this down.
Okay, you're sounding okay now.
Okay.
Yep, that's good.
Okay, good. So I want you to detach from the outcomes, meaning if you get ready to shoot a video, do a presentation, interview for a job, don't get all hung up in the getting of the thing that you're after. Because when you can detach from the outcomes, guess what? Fear goes away. You're not as self-conscious. You are free to do what you authentically do every day. It's when we start to package ourselves up in anticipation of getting a result, that's our problem. So this goes for sales presentations. It goes from webinars. When I did this webinar last week, I still go through a little 15-minute routine where I just emotionally detach from the outcome. If everybody comes and everybody leaves after 1 minute, okay, I learned what I said in that minute. I won't say that again. Kind of back to your lesson thing. So detach from outcomes is critical. I wrote a book called Same Game, New Rules, and that I said that's your superpower in business and in life, is to detach from the outcomes. And we've never been taught that.
You must be in my alleged mind for the last year and a half, because I can so much relate to that, because I had never done a sales deck before for a sales pitch till the last year. And I had to detach on the outcomes and just say, you know what? I just got the opportunity to present. And whatever happens, happens. But I took it as a win to learn how to do a sales deck, to learn how to pitch. I became better on my feet. And if it works out, it works out. I can't control what the other party.
That's right. You can't. Right? We can barely control ourselves.
Right. So I did. And so I love what you said there, that, you know, I don't let the journey decide the outcomes. And if the outcome, like, I can't control it. The only thing I can control myself. So it's made me become a better thought leader now, because if they say yes, if they don't say yes, it's their loss. But at least I got the opportunity to share, and I've become better through the process. I've become stronger. I've become more resilient, and I've become better at presenting myself and my ideas.
And I think you're more attractive that way in a business sense. Obviously, you're more attractive when you're not clutching and grasping and, oh my God, what is it going to take to earn your business? And there's still people who actually say that. What is it going to take to earn your business? Which means I'll do anything it takes. I'll contort myself and wrap myself into a pretzel just to get the business.
No, that to me is desperation.
It is. But you still hear it with people. I mean, it's still out there. So detach from outcomes is a really good move.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Number 4, high intent is the way. High intent is where my intent is about, like you just mentioned there, the intention of your presentations was to equip them with something new, was to present an opportunity for them. It was to educate them or entertain them, or whatever your intention is. It is not low intent is where it's all about you. Yeah. And my intent's to make this sale. So I'm going to wow them with this presentation. Loser, you're done, because they're going to pick up on that. And that goes against a lot of these sales trainers who are out there saying, expect to win. And I say, no, expect nothing. You have no idea what's going on in their world, in their lives. What's going on in their mind. What was it? E. Cummings said, we all be kind to people, because we all fight a battle internally that you know nothing about.
Wow. I love that quote. So
my goal is to have high intent. All my webinars, all my programs, I say, you know what, if at the end of this thing, you have no interest in working with me, that's cool. That's fine. I respect that. But here's the offer, here's the price. So let's spend the rest of the hour seeing if this is a fit for you. So,
you know, that's interesting. And I hope this goes along with what you're saying, that as at the front of all my conversations, I say, you know, I'm affiliated with Dove Men Care. And I'm going to shorten the story. It's a longer story, but when I had my first phone call with their ad agency, a big agency called Edelman, one of the biggest ad agencies in the world, right? So this is via phone. Yeah, this is via phone.
Good story. I'm anxious.
This is so. I did my research ahead of time. I found out the names of the 3 people that were going to be on the phone. Researched them, LinkedIn, did all of that, and they grilled me for 45 minutes. Like, they grilled me with questions. And at the end of the day, I say high intent. Yeah, I wanted to get something with them, but you know what? At the end of the day, I just wanted to represent and make sure I was clear.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. And if the worst thing, I wanted at least to carry on the relationship if it wasn't the right time. I want the relationship. So at the end of the presentation, I say, look, you want a national thing. I'm a one-person shop, but I'm affiliated with a national fatherhood organization that can serve your needs. Would you be interested? Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. So at the end of the 45 minutes, they asked me, and this was via phone, they asked me, do you have any questions for us? And I said, well, ladies, you work with Dove Men Care. What are the 3 biggest challenges you have working with Dove Men Care? Phone went silent for 45 seconds.
Really?
Because I could tell they had never been asked that question before. Now, there was a method to my madness. because and I'm glad I was able to do that. I wanted to be a solution to their problems.
That's right. That's right.
That was my intent.
That's high intent. Yeah.
I wanted to be a solution to I want to make their job easier.
Yeah.
I want to be an asset to them. And then I went a little bit deeper. I said, if this arrangement works out, how is it making it better for each one of you?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm making it better for the big picture, then their picture's got to be better.
That's right.
And one of them said, well, it gave us an opportunity to do other things. We may get promotions. I said, okay, that's my intent. Yeah. I want to make it better, not only for the big picture, but the people I'm speaking with on the phone.
Yeah. But you see, at that point, it was over. You had it was over. I mean, in a good way. They were done. It's like, okay, this guy cares about our business. He cares about me personally. He answered all of our questions. This thing is over. Because they probably talked to other people who did not do that, who were always talking about scope and reach and, you know, all the numbers. That didn't matter to them. They want to be associated with a good human being. And that was you. Yeah.
And I just want to catch up with Bear Slate. She goes, loves that detaching kills fear. That's a quotable. And then I'm sold. I love sales. This is good. So as I said, Bill's going to be making an appearance on another platform probably very soon. And I know on the line it's Laura from the Bear Slate team. And yeah, she is passionate and loves this kind of stuff.
Good.
So she is all over it. So let's continue on.
Okay. Number 5, document your wisdom. I talked about that earlier. Just start writing down in inventory, you know, just like a company would take inventory of their products, or in my case, when my recovery, I had to take inventory of those people that I had hurt and harmed. Just make a list. And it's the same with documentation of your content, of your wisdom. What are you good at? What do you like doing? What kind of knowledge have you accumulated over the years? This could be literally a Google Doc, 1 page, just bullet pointed list. You know what it does for you? Forget about how you're going to use it. It's good for you. It's good for you to look at that and say, damn, I've got a lot of value here. I didn't realize it until I stacked all that stuff together. You're going to carry yourself differently. You're going to stand a little straighter. You might negotiate a little harder. You might put yourself in positions where you can tell this story a little bit more frequently. So nothing bad comes from inventorying your wisdom.
I think, and something I agree with that 150%. I also think if you can get documentation from other people of your wisdom, testimonials, that sort of thing. And it's one thing with the written. If you can get someone to do a video testimonial of you, OMG, that is huge.
Put it on your LinkedIn page.
Well, I'm going to share a little secret that my major mentor taught me, that I'm doing more stuff via video these days. I'm even sending introductions to contacts via video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people say, what are you doing that for? Well, A, it's different.
Yep.
Second of all, I'm showing that I can present my ideas clearly.
That's right.
And 3, I'm making it very personal. You can always just do an email, but if you can present yourself succinctly in like in a minute and a half and 2 minutes, they go, wow.
Yeah.
So document yourself. You're going to
document does not necessarily mean just in writing. It could be video or podcast
because you're either going to be your worst enemy or your best friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. So that's what I can share on that one.
Yeah, no, that's good. So number 6, moving on here. And this is, I'm very partial to this idea of community and coach. And sometimes we adults don't have places to go to get encouragement and wisdom. And sometimes coaches, if you go out and hire a coach, it's overpriced. It's way too much. My recommendation is always get in a group of people who are trying to accomplish the same things you are. Make sure it's led by a moderator or a coach or somebody who's an expert, and let the community pull you along. Contribute, take. It's like the offering plate. If you need $1, take $1. If you have $1, give $1. Same thing with coaching groups. But when we get to be adults, we get very we get very reluctant to ask for help, and we think we have to.
Why do you think that is, Bill?
Ego. It's our ego, and yet I can tell you that when you look at somebody in business or in performance or art or sports, and they're at the top of their game, you kidding me? You think they don't have a coach? You think they're doing it all themselves? Heck no. LeBron James he's got trainer coaches, flexibility coaches, strength coaches, conditioning coaches, financial coach. He's got he keeps the coaching industry alive and well in LA because he knows he can't do it all. And it's the same with us. And I don't think you're ever too small to get a coach. Now, sometimes a coach or a community might cost money. It's betting on yourself. It's investing in yourself. So community and coach, I think, is really important, especially when you can get support and unconditional support from a small group.
And I'll give a real life example to myself. One of the things that I'm very blessed is that I've been a featured weekly contributor on a website called the Good Men Project for the last 7 years. And the original idea did not come from me. Mm-hmm. Many years ago, we used to have a mastermind group that met once a month. And one day, and I'll give credit to the lady, I'll never forget her name, Marie Roker Jones, said, Dr. Vibe, you should get your content on the Good Men Project. I said, Marie, I have no idea what you're talking about. So she says, go take a look. So
Change your life.
Didn't realize that it's one of the most viewed sites in the world for men. They get 3 million unique visitors a month and 6 million page views. Mm-hmm. So, and I got to realize, I said, you know what? I'm just going to send them something. I didn't know where it's going to end up. I'm just going to send them some stuff. 2 weeks later, from a cafe in Singapore, one of their executive editors said, we'd love your stuff. As you just said, change everything for me, because I've been able to say for the last 7 years that I'm a contributor to a website that gets 3 million unique visitors a month. Plus, like you said about Document, I can send out a one-pager that shows who, what, where, and why. And the quote on it is from the lady who runs the Good Men Project. And she basically says that we're looking to create the future of media with Dr. Vibe. So that
one little idea.
Yes. That didn't come from me.
No.
As Bill was saying, get in groups, get coaches. That has expanded my world to none. And so when people say, like, what are some significant moments in my journey? That was one of the biggest. So I fully agree. With that.
I think the purpose of a coaching group is to help you expand what's possible, which she did. You might have gotten there eventually, but she might have saved you 15 years, 10 years, 6 months.
Absolutely shortcutted. And, just so much like that credibility piece is just meant the world to me. But again, it was from someone. And I want to add what Bill's saying, make sure those people have your best interests and you have your best interests.
Yeah. Same with a coach. If you're gonna get a coach, because a lot of coaches don't, and that's not a shot at coaches, but find somebody who is, people that you're around that inspire you. When you go out to dinner with certain people, you leave there inspired and on fire, and other people you leave and you're like, when is this going to be over? And you've got to find a group that you leave transformed from each session. You leave having a different look at the world and different perspective. Hard to find. Adults, and I know there's primarily adults listen to this, you've got to find a group. Mm-hmm. It's the master key to that. The last one here, number 7, is untapped potential. I think it's good to develop a framework. If you have an area of expertise, let's say it's project management. Yep. You have an area of expertise. Develop a 3 to 5 step framework of how you do your job in that project management area. It doesn't have to be the world's best design thing, but just when you're interviewing somebody or you're talking on LinkedIn, you say, look, I've got a kind of a 4-step process. Whenever I look at a project, there's 4 steps. Number 1, get clear about the outcomes. Number 2, whatever it is, think about frameworks. It helps you become more memorable, and it helps you deliver the advice to your audience if you can think of how you package your knowledge inside a framework of some kind. Now, I know coaches a lot of people use frameworks, but I think it's good for all of us.
Yes.
If you have knowledge, which you do because we've been alive longer than 30, 40 years, develop a framework and say, this is the way I look. If you're a writer, here's how I do writing. Number one, I do this. Number two, I do this. That way, when you're talking to people, they'll say about you, that person has a proven framework. They've got a concept. I want that. I want a part of that. And that'll be very helpful for you.
And again, I'll just piggyback with what Bill is saying. Yeah. And also, if you can show proven results
from that framework,
that sets you apart from so many people that you've done it, you learn it, earn it, and teach it.
Yep.
Learn it, earn it, and teach it.
Yeah, that's the problem sometimes in coaching is coaches can be good at, like if I wanted to hire a coach who has done what I want to do, that's kind of what I look is if somebody created a multi-million-dollar online business, then I want to be a part of it. But if they don't know how to teach it, I don't want any part of them because they're just going to be sitting back saying, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. I want step-by-step instruction. So when you hire a coach, I'm going back to number 6 there. When you hire a coach, make sure that not only have they done it and they've achieved kind of where you want to achieve, but they know how to implement it. They know how to distribute that knowledge to you so that you can have a step-by-step approach. And the same thing with you. When you go out to find another job, another position, make sure you have a step-by-step understanding of how you deliver value. Well,
those are incredible. And this incredible document. And we have it at the bottom here, billcaskey.com/untapped. He will send you that. So if you're watching it, you got it there. If you're listening to it on the replay, I've said it enough times. Bill, I have a quick question before we start winding it down here.
Yeah.
When someone comes to you for the first time and you start having a conversation with them, are there any common challenges they're coming to you with, or is it all over the place? Are you noticing some common themes that they're wanting to share with you when they first meet you?
Yeah, that's a good one. Companies, when they come to me, a VP of sales or a CEO comes to me and they typically say, I've got a good team, got a good sales team in place, but we're not achieving nearly what we could. So there's untapped potential even within that team. That's typically what they say. They don't say I got rotten people. They say we got good people, but we're not hitting on all cylinders. When an individual comes to me and wants to join or consider joining one of my small group coaching initiatives, they usually say similar to that, they've got untapped potential, but I don't want to work twice as hard to make twice as much. I don't want to scale my business and burn myself out in the process. I've got family, I've got interests, I've got hobbies, golf, basketball, whatever. So there's that idea that how can I scale up my revenue and my income without working myself to death? And the manager of people, they don't really care if you work yourself to death, as long as the numbers are there and and that's not all, but that's some. But I think it's up to the individual to say, I need to scale up. I need to be more impactful in the market, but I don't want to burn myself out doing it. That's probably a typical response.
Wonderful. Before we let you go, any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience today?
I encourage you to download this and just do a little study. Spend an hour out on the patio this weekend or somewhere that's quiet, put some nice music on, and just think about some of these things. It's amazing when you heard me talk about it. Now you're going to read it. Now you're going to kind of create some time around it. I don't think we spend enough time thinking about these 7 things. We just don't.
Yeah, and I piggyback with Bill saying, I don't think most of us spend enough time investing in ourselves. And I think what Bill has shared here, we should be pulling it out on a periodic basis, not just a one and done, because once you finish it, life can change.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
It's a continuous document, just like a website is a continuous document. What Bill is sharing is something that, if you're serious, you'll do at least 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Not at the end of the year or once a year thing, because 2 or 3 times a year, I think you'll get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Not only will you get the most out of it, but the people you serve and you want to help will get the most out of it.
That's right. And be cautious about giving it to your partner or spouse, because They haven't heard this. Now, if they're going to listen, if they're going to do this with you, make them listen to this.
Sure, yeah.
Because sometimes you get this and somebody says, you don't need a coach. You've been doing this for a long time. Well, how much is that going to cost? They're going to get all this stuff, all this resistance. It's your life, man. It's your life. You are the architect of your life. Nobody else, not your spouse, not your kids, not your parents. You are.
Absolutely. Love it. So before we let Bill go, we're just going to put up, if you're watching this live on the replay, contact information. There's his website. There he is on Instagram. There's the link for one of his 2 podcasts. Mm-hmm. He's also on Facebook. He's also on LinkedIn. As you see, he's Googleicious. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also on YouTube. And again, get the document, Untapped Potential. I'm going to get it. I'm going to probably share with Bill, if he allows you, what I came up with during that. Yeah. And billcaskey.com/untapped. Bill, thank you so much for taking
awesome, Dr. Vibe.
It was awesome having you. And again, the mic is open. I know Bear Slate's looking for you. So get ready, Get ready.
Okay.
All right. So good stuff. We have him today. Bill Caskey rocked it out of the house today. Really enjoyed having him on. And like to say thanks to a few people. Thank you to Bear Slate for watching this live on the podcast. Well, this is not really a podcast. Well, a true definition of podcast is audio only, but everyone calls us a podcast today. So no problem. Also like to thank everyone who's going to watch this live or watch on the replay, and also listen on the replay. I'd like to say thank you so much. If you want to get in touch with me, the best place to do that is at my website. That's at thedrvibeshow.com. I'm also available on Twitter, Facebook. Dr. Vibe Show is also on YouTube. Also, there's my email address, dr.vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show, the drvibeshow.com. I'm also on YouTube, and I'm on Facebook. And if you have a moment, there's a link right here. If you want to fill out a quick survey sharing your experience or what you thought, if you have any ideas for the Dr. Vibe Show, would love to have you fill that out. So as always, I want to close like this. Live your life as a dream if you can dream it. If you can make it, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. And then also love, faith, and respect. And finally, remember to give yourself grace. God bless, peace to well, keep the faith, and remember to walk good. And especially during these times, remember to give yourself grace. Thank you, everybody. Be well and keep the faith.